If you're here to watch this, you probably have a bolt or an engine mounting system stuck somewhere. I'm going to quickly talk to you about my 42-year-old motorcycle that caused me 3 days of delay because the bolt would not come out from the bottom of the engine mount. It's a big bolt. You're looking at like a 5-inch bolt maybe going all the way through the bottom. It went through the frame. It's an aluminum frame, so I had to be extra careful not to snap the engine or crack it in any sort. So what I did was I used heat. Everybody said to me heat is your friend, but unfortunately in this situation it wasn't. I also used ice. I put ice in a bag, put it on the bolt and used it to see if that would help the contraction of the metal to expand it and obviously help it get out, but that was not the best solution. We used a hammer, we used a angle grinder, multi-tool. I used heat, ice, I used drilling, I used what else? Hammer, I used the sockets. So one side I was able to get the nut off, but because it's a bolt, the bolt side would just not spin. So with these rusty old bolts, especially with aluminium cases, these rocket sockets and all these fancy tools that you can buy, which I bought to test out, didn't work for me. I had to use a good old fashioned drill technique. You'll see throughout this what I ended up doing. So firstly, because I used the nut, make sure you got the 6-sided nuts, not the 8-sided ones, because that can chew up your nut. So here we use the rocket socket. I hammered it on to try and make it easy enough to remove. Did it work? No, hell did it work. I used a bar and the bar bent and there was good grip with the rocket socket. It didn't slip, which is an excellent thing. It's just for some reason when I finally found out when I got the bolt out, it was only maybe 1 centimeter of it that was just sticking and rusty, and that's what caused the whole bolt to not move or come out. So I used an impact driver, I used everything that I had and borrowed, and flame. I used like 10 minutes bursts of flame, 15-minute burst of flame, then cool it down instantly and heat it again, but it was not having it. So we had to go down the long route, starting at a small drill bit, working our way up to get the actual nut and bolt out. So this is something that is commonplace. I've seen loads of people struggle with these kind of things. So I thought I'll make a video to let you know what to expect. If you're doing a motorcycle restore and you find yourself with a stuck bolt, no matter how big your bar is, you will end up bending the bar with ones that are really stubborn. So keep that in mind. Get yourself an angle grinder, cut that bad boy down, get a drill, get a tap it out, drill it out. That's going to be your best way with the minimum amount of damage. Otherwise, if you hammer away at it, and all these people were messaging me on Facebook saying, oh, heat it up and melt it out. And I was like, well, if I melt the bolt, the engine is aluminium, so won't the engine casing start melting before the bolt melts? So like a lot of people will offer you suggestions, but they're all basing it on their experience, and they may be working with full iron cast parts, which is different to what I was working with. So be careful and make sure you know what you're working with and what limitations you've got. And even with the angle grinder, I was able to take the nut off, well, the bolt off, and then drill through and get through to the main event of getting the bolt out. The whole engine came out. The bolt was still stuck in the mounting of the engine parts. And then I had to drill and tap it out and use angle grinder to actually cut it away from the engine. So it was a bit of a big event, and slowly working on it multiple times throughout the week. We got there in the end, but it was a lot of work where we would not assume it to need work. It's basically take the bolt out, slide it out. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, but that's not what ended up happening. So hopefully this is giving you an idea of the types of challenges you will face, and old and stubborn bolts are a bit of a nightmare, and there's loads of tools out there to help you get it out. So testing them all, I will do a video actually about the 10 things I tested to get it out and what worked for me in the end. So keep an eye out for that video. That will definitely help you, and I might link it somewhere so you can check it out. This is acting as more of a diary to help me remember that bolt that took me nearly 3 or 4 days to get out from the engine. enjoying this series, make sure to subscribe so you actually get notifications directly to your phone each time I load a new episode. I've got loads of videos planned for this bike. We're going to get it back on the road, so it'd be good to have you along on the journey with me. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video right here.